Oh my days. It's getting wild on the KitLab because we're about to get into the history of green speed. Lock into your seatbelts, here we go. So, where does it all begin? We have to rewind the clocks back to 2012, and when Nike decided, let's make a boot that's environmentally friendly, but still has amazing lockdown and explosive speed written all over it. Hence the birth of the Nike GS. This boot right here. Now, limited to 2012 pairs only and weighing in at just 160 grams. This was actually Nike's lightest boot. Why? Because what it did, similar to what you do in F1, right, for a supercar, you strip down everything that's not necessary. So you take away all those little bits and bobs that aren't needed in a boot, and you give it that core structure to allow maximum speed and performance, but still have that slight bit of comfort required for you to last 90 minutes on the pitch. This boot was offered to none other than this guy right here, Neymar Jr., who at the time was Brazil's national star and of course was playing in the 2012 Olympics. So what was different about the GS? Born in Montebelluna at the heart of their Nike factory, where they make the most premium boots, Nike decided to use recycled materials as well as renewable materials, and that would be the essence of green speed. Now, the upper itself is a solvent-free Kanga-Lite texture all the way across, going from the toe box right through to the heel counter. The idea is that you also have zonal reinforcement where you need more areas of lockdown inside the boot, but you still maintain a super light frame. You also have the sock liner. Now this is where the magic kicks in, because the sock liner itself is made from beans. You're thinking, AK, what? Beans? Yes, caster beans. But that enables you to have a snug fit without all the added weight and material that you normally get in your typical Mercurial. Now, it's not the only time you're going to find the secret ingredient of caster beans being used. The Soleplate is the next one. Now, normally Nike use a nylon P-back Soleplate, but for the DS, they decided to do two things. One, create a brand new P-back Renew plate, which basically means that 97% of that particular material is made from caster beans. And that consisted of 50% of the Soleplate. You then had a TPU injection added, which created 50% more, and that gave you the entire Soleplate. Speaking of which, was made from renewable materials. Now the P-Bax Renew that you saw on the Soleplate also features here the anatomical and asymmetrical heel counter, which is also made from those magical caster beans that I was talking about earlier. The idea being this heel counter gives you maximum lockdown inside the shoe and creates support and stability for when you accelerate and decelerate. Overall, the GS was a massive success. Nike managed to lower their environmental footprint whilst at the same time create a top-tier explosive boot that changed the game, but it wasn't over there. So after a successful GS launch, Nike decided to make this official silo here, the GS2, following its predecessor. The idea being this was then gifted to 6 youngsters who were killing it in the game at the time. You had Hazard, Sterling, Walcott, Ericsson, El Shaarawy, and Mario Götze. Now, what's different between the GS2 and the GS1? There aren't any, apart from two things. One, the colorway. Of course, the traditional Volt got replaced with the black and white monochrome outfit. But the second thing is a key vital ingredient, written in bold, ACC, of course, in that safari print. But ACC stands for All Conditions Control, a treatment put on top of that Kanga-Lite that we talked about earlier, and that enables for great ball control, whether it's rain or shine or snow, or whatever weather condition you want to throw at the boot. So with the Soleplate being the same, as well as the heel counter and the upper combined, there wasn't really much difference, and so production-wise, Nike made quite a bit. They weren't limited edition, but they were only around for a limited amount of time. Right, back in the time machine, and we move forward to 2018 and the launch of these bad boys, the brand new Mercurial GS 360, where it of course takes inspiration from both the GS1 and the GS2. So what does this boot entail? Well, the first key feature is the knit. Now, typically you think, okay, of course it's got fly in it like every other boot, but actually no, it doesn't. The knit here is called circular knit. It still encompasses the boot 360 degrees, however, it has a very different feel to fly knit itself, and Nike have ensured that they got zero waste from the knit once used on the boot. In terms of the Mercurial structure here, this is very important because the Vapor 360 and Superfly 360 both have this gradient shift. So the bottom base of the fly knit is pretty much well protected, and as you come up towards the sock liner, you pretty much get towards exposed fly knit. Whereas here for the circular knit, it's almost like there's 3 different types. You've got tightly knitted towards the bottom where the sole plate would be. You then have this sort of mid-range knit, and it's a completely different knit for the collar itself. Speaking of the collar, you've got a completely different cut. Now, this is almost like a blend between the Flyknit Ultra and the current Superfly 360 at the moment. The best part about it is that it cuts beneath the ankle. So you've got less restriction here, and that's what you'll find on our playtest if you click right here. Other than that, you still got that renewable material which coats the upper of the GS 360 and mimics the pattern that you find both on the GS1 and the GS2. Now, the sole plate is very intriguing indeed on the GS 360 because it's completely different to the Vapor 360 and Superfly 360 as well. So what do you get? You get pods, but not of the chevron type, because you have this triangular webbing at the front pod, and the rear pod is pretty much similar to your normal Mercurial, but again, the chevron's stud pattern is completely different. So what you find is the outer head, or the lateral side, is slightly curved, but the balls of the feet, you have these T-shaped studs which create super amounts of traction, especially when you accelerate. The back end, of course, known for its deceleration, so you've got a similar stud pattern to that of the Mercurial 360, but again, there's still some rounded elements to it as well. Keeping up with tradition, of course, you've got ACC technology all across the upper of the boot, like I said before, so you've got maximum control in all weather conditions. So what do I think of the boot as a whole? I love it. It's a great testament to both the GS1 and GS2. I love the fact that it's limited edition boot, so it's only 2018 pairs. But I do have a slight bone to pick with Nike because the GS being the GS, you shouldn't have put the original colorway on the Nike ID builder, which the boot is currently situated on and is there for a limited time. So if you missed out on getting the limited edition pair, you can always create your own pair, and it'll take about 5 to 6 weeks before it arrives on your doorstep. Other than that, I'm super stoked. I really love the collar. That for me was a massive highlight, and you'll know why exactly when you see the playtest. But overall, a fantastic boot, and the circular knit actually surprised me as well with the level of comfort that it provided. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy our Nike GS history review? Put that in the comments below. Massive thumbs up and subscribe, of course, and we'll catch you on the next episode. I'm AK signing out. Peace.